Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, it's me Andi Angelina and welcome back to my channel. In this opportunity, I would like to present or explain to you about comparing and contrasting. This is several ways in comparing and contrasting. Number 1 is the language of comparison. Number 2, comparative sentences. Number 3, writing a paragraph of comparison. Number 4, the language of contrast. Number 5 is contrast. Number 6 is writing a paragraph of contrast. Number 7 is science experiment. And the last one is gathering data for comparison and contrast. All right, let's start to the first material is the language of comparison. In your text response essay, in argument analysis, and when comparing books or arguments, you will need to use the language of comparison. An effective comparison enables to you highlight key concepts and key ideas as well as similarities and differences in views and values between characters, authors, and themes. An example, affirmative sentence with to be. John is a student, George is a student. A, John is a student and George is too. B, John is a student and so is George. Number 2, with other verbs. Japan exports cars, Germany exports cars. A, Japan exports cars and Germany does too. B, Japan export cars and so does Germany. B, negative sentence. In negative sentence with to be, the blue example, the blue dress isn't expensive. The green dress isn't expensive. A, the blue dress isn't expensive and the green dress isn't either. B, the blue dress isn't expensive and neither is the green dress. Number 2, with other verbs. Owls don't at the night. Mice don't sleep at night. A, owls don't at the night and mice don't either. B, owls don't at the night and neither do mice. All right. The next way is comparative sentences. When comparing two things in English, we use the comparative form. There are two ways to show a comparative comparison using. Number 1 is plus ER and 2 more. Example, the suffix er is used for words that have only one syllable. Example, the train is faster than car. Faster. Number 2, use more for words that have more than one syllable. Example, in my opinion, chicken noodle is more delicious than meatball. More. All right, next is writing a paragraph of comparison. This is the paragraph that I made before. There are several ways I can revert to the eating habits of people in Batam in Tanjung Pinang. Based on my observations, Batam people cook food using a little seasoning. However, the Tanjung Pinang people prefer to cook using a lot of spices or seasoning. However, both Batam and Tanjung Pinang seem to share a preference for spicy food. In short, these are some of many ways I can state some the differences and similarities of the eating habits of people in Batam and people in Tanjung Pinang. All right, next way is the language of contrast. Example, Ann and Beth are identical twins. Of course, they are alike in many ways. They are the same age, the same age, and the same weight. They also have the same color eyes and hair. However, they also differ in many ways. N is funnier than bad, and N is buzzer than bad, and N is cuter than bad. Then bad is more serious than N, bad is more athletic than N, and bad is more creative than N. All right, next is contrast. Contrast is a rhetorical device through which writers identify differences between two subjects, places, persons, things, or ideas. Simply, it is a type of opposition between two objects, highlighted of emphasis their differences. Contrast comes from the Latin word contra in stare, meaning to stand against. All right, next is writing a paragraph of contrast. There are several differences between picture flowers and Venus flowers. Venus flowers' leaves are hinged and hairy. The leaves are open waiting for insects to come. When the insect touches the sensitive hairs on the leaf, the two halves of the leaf close quickly. Then the leaves will decrease the insects and absorb the nitrogen. However, pitcher flowers at certain times, the pitcher flower emits a pungent odor. The smell is useful for attracting the attention of insects. Pitcher flowers have a special liquid in the back. The liquid is useful for digesting trapped insects. Those are some of the differences between pitcher flowers and Venus flowers. All right, next is the science experiment. Scientific experiments are often done to show comparisons and contrasts. The following experiments show a color change in litmus paper. You need to prepare it, litmus paper, blue litmus paper, glass, soap, water, and vinegar. Cut the red and blue litmus paper 1 centimeter long with scissors. Enter the solution to be placed into the glass. After that, insert the red and blue litmus paper into the glass alternately and observe and record the result of the experiment. The simple experiments prove that red litmus paper turns blue when dipped in soap water, and blue litmus paper turns red when dipped in vinegar. These are some of the change in color of litmus paper when it is dipped in some liquid. All right, next. The last way is gathering data for comparison and contrast. If you have traveled to or meet people from other countries or cities, you know that there are both similarities and differences between cultures. In this activity, you are going to write a paragraph focusing on the differences between one aspect of your culture and that same aspect in other culture. For example, I choose eating habits. And for this way, I use the previous paragraph. There are several ways I can refer to the eating habits of people in Batam, Tanjung Pinang. Based on my observation, Batam people cook food using a little seasoning. However, the Tanjung Pinang people prefer to cook using a lot of seasoning or spices. However, both Batam and Tanjung Pinang seems to share preference for spicy food. Spicy food. In short, these are some of the many ways I can state some of these of the differences and similarities of the eating habits of people in Batam and people in Tanjung Pinang. All right, I think that's all about comparing and contrasting. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Apologize me by some mistake and mispronunciation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye.